I made a video stating that this is the reason that Terrence Crawford should get 50-50 in the Errol Spence fight. Now we were going opponent to opponent. We was doing it that way. We was comparing opponent to opponent. We was doing it like that. That's one of the ways I was saying he needs to get 50-50, right? So let me see the 6 opponents that Bud fought that run in line with the 6 opponents that Errol fought since Bud got in the division. Let's compare. Let me see how many of those opponents have losses on their record, so that we can see who's all this heavy lifting bullshit. Let's take a quick look at it real quick. So we got let's go to Terrence Crawford first, man. Let's go to Terrence Crawford. His 6 opponents in the division. He only had 6 opponents. He ain't been in the division only 4 years. Going on 4 years, right? So Sean Porter. All right, let's go back to his first opponent, Jeff Horn. When he fought Jeff Horn had no losses. He had 0 losses. When he fought Jose Benavidez, I was right. Jose Benavidez had 0 losses. When he fought Amir Khan had 4 losses. When he fought Mean Machine had no losses. When he fought Kell Brook had 2 losses. When he fought Sean Porter already had 3 losses. So the last 2 opponents of Terrence Crawford were both common opponents with Errol Spence. So they already had losses anyway. Okay? Kell Brook only lost to Errol Spence and Triple G. Okay? Triple G fought Kell Brook before Errol even got to him. So Kell Brook already had a loss. Sean Porter, his 3 losses came from Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, and I believe, was it Broner? Was it Broner that beat him? It was Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and sorry, not Broner. It was Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, and Terrence Crawford. That's it. So those are the only 3 that he lost to. But before Errol fought Sean Porter, Porter already had a loss to Keith Thurman. So let's recap that one more time on the opponents of Terrence Crawford. How many losses each of them had. So let's go back again. I'm just recapping. Go back to Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn had no losses. Jose Benavidez had no losses. Mean Machine had no losses. So 3 out of 6 of Terrence Crawford's opponents had no losses. Porter, Kell Brook, and Amir Khan are the only 3 that had losses. So it's 3 for 3 with Bud. He had 3 opponents with no losses. He had 3 opponents with losses. Let's go to Errol Spence now. Okay, let's keep in mind, Terrence Crawford's first fight was June 2018 at the welterweight division. Now let's go to Errol Spence. Let's look at Errol Spence. Let's see all the heavy lifting he's been doing. Let's see all the heavy lifting Errol Spence has been doing. So we got Errol Spence, the truth, right here. Let's go back to 2018. We gonna do it after. If we could do it, we might have to go to Lamont Peterson, because if I go to Carlos Ocampo, that was June. Him and Bud fought the same month in 2018, but that would mean Errol Spence only had 4 fights. From Ocampo to Danny Garcia, that's only 4 fights. So we gonna go back a little bit. We gonna go all the way back to Kell Brook. That'd be Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson, Ocampo, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia. We're going to start at Kell Brook. That was a year before Bud got in the division. If you want to do that, we're going to go with Kell Brook, because Kell Brook is a common opponent. All right? We can take Kell Brook off the list and go right up to Lamont Peterson. It don't make a difference, because either way you go, both of them had losses already before Errol got to him. So Kell Brook had 1 loss, which I stated was Triple G. Then he fought Lamont Peterson, who already had 3 losses. Ocampo didn't have no losses. Mikey Garcia didn't have no losses. Sean Porter had 2 losses. Danny Garcia had 2 losses. All right. So you want to further go into it, the competition of the guys who had no losses. Let's compare them real quick. Mikey Garcia is a known name. He had no losses. Ocampo, nobody knew who the fuck he was. He had no losses. Bud, Mean Machine had no losses. It was Mean Machine had no losses. Nobody really heard of Cavalasis like that. He wasn't really known, but he was a better fighter than fucking Ocampo. He's a way better fighter than Ocampo. You got knocked out in the first round and you ain't got no grit. You ain't nowhere near. He's nowhere near as better as Mean Machine. Mean Machine gave hell to Virgil Ortiz and a lot of his opponents. Okay, he gave hell to David Avenesian as well. All right, so let's go back. Let's do this again. Mikey Garcia is a known name. Errol put the first loss on his record. Mikey was moving up. Since y'all dudes want to get technical, we could do that. Mikey was moving. He was a small dude, right? We could do that, or we could just give Errol his fucking credit. But you dudes don't never want to give Bud his credit for his wins. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna discredit Errol for his Mikey win. He beat a small Mikey Garcia. Since y'all want to play like that, he beat a small Mikey Garcia. So we talking to dudes that had O's now. So technically, Terrence Crawford fought the most competition that had the less losses on their record. So Bud is one up from Errol. Errol had 2 fighters with no losses. Bud had 3 fighters with no losses. If you want to compare popularity and skill set, Ocampo to Mikey Garcia, and then you want to compare that skill set to Mean Machine and to Jose Benavidez and Jeff Horn, we can do that. So you got Garcia and Ocampo. Garcia the only one that hold weight. I would say Garcia holds weight over a Jeff Horn and over maybe a Benavidez. But Benavidez's record was pretty much on point with damn near Mikey Garcia's. So overall, bro, there was no heavy lifting by Errol Spence. There was no heavy lifting by Terrence Crawford. That is a myth. And I just explained to you why. All of the dudes, and also the dudes that Bud lost, the dudes that came in with no losses to Bud, the dudes that came in with losses to Bud and with losses to Errol, you can kind of compare them too. The competition is almost on par. Damn near. Come on, guys. Heavy lifting debunked. And I'm out.